Now it's time to make the bunny's nose. And we're gonna make basically a little T shape where the top of the nose lines up with the bottom of the eyes. So cut a piece of your pink yarn, and you want about an arm's length. So from your hand to your shoulder should be more than enough. And then thread your tapestry needle. Now we're gonna insert the needle at a midpoint between the eyes and one round lower than that. So for me, that's somewhere around here. And mine happens to line up with a hole, but if yours doesn't, don't worry about that. Just put it where it does look center aligned. Then we're gonna take the needle out at a midpoint about one round above. So you want the point that the needle's coming out of to match up with the bottom of the eyes. And actually, when I look at that now, I see that my nose is too far to the right. So I'm gonna move my needle over, try again. I want this to be as straight as possible because this is gonna be the stem of the T for the nose. So pull your yarn until you have about a 6-inch tail left. You're gonna leave that alone and not touch that until the very end. Now you're gonna insert your needle in exactly the same spot that it came from. And now, instead of going straight up, we're gonna go along that same invisible line connecting the bottom of the eyes, but this time about 1 stitch to the left. So I'm winging it a little, like let's say it captures like 2 strands of yarn. You don't have to worry about always aiming for a hole, by the way. You can always split yarn, and in fact that probably will make your yarn even more firm. So what I did here was I pulled the yarn tight, but not too tight because I didn't want to like squeeze these stitches together. I just want it tight enough so that it's not loose and hanging out. See, now the embroidery is nice and flat against the bunny's body. And now we're gonna make the other side of the nose. So we gotta pick a spot that's about equidistant. So somewhere around here and off to the right, and then bring the needle back out over on the left, out exactly the same spot that the yarn is currently coming out of. And make sure you don't accidentally eat up your tail, yarn tail, while you're doing this. And again, pull just tight enough, but not too tight that you distort the white yarn of the bunny's body. Then we're gonna go again as many times as you want to build the bulk of this nose from the right to the left. And I'm gonna do it a total of 3 times. So I want his nose, there we go, to have some heft to it, all right? And whenever you are done, now you can put your needle back in from exactly where it came from, and then bring it out at the starting point, so where this yarn tail is. And you do want to take the time to get it in exactly the same hole that the yarn tail came from, because we are going to tie a knot with the 2 ends of yarn, like so. That's how we make sure nothing will fall out. And then we're gonna take the yarn tail that we left alone in the beginning and thread that through the needle as well. And then my 2 yarn tails are drastically different lengths, so you can either cut the longer one to be about the same length as the shorter one, or leave that alone for now, since all we want to do is put the needle in exactly the same hole that these yarn tails are coming out of, and then pick some arbitrary spot on the other side of your bunny and pull this yarn through. And okay, so you notice how when I pulled it through, it indented my bunny. Don't worry about that. Just find the ends of the yarn tail and go ahead and pull that through. And at this point, yarn is still movable, so you can just, there we go, fluff it back up, and it's all good again. And this isn't too much extra yarn tail left, but if I did have extra, you could always go right back in exactly where you came from and pick another spot on the bunny. I'll just do that to show you what it's like so, to just make it extra secure. Because what we're doing right now is weaving in the yarn tails and getting it caught in the stuffing so that the embroidery won't come out. And then when you're done, all you gotta do is pull a little bit and then snip that pink yarn off and then massage your piece until the ends of the yarn disappear.